Hello, and welcome to the seventh episode of Just a Breezy Chat. Can you believe we're almost done with this season? I can't believe it. But today we're going to talk about being the first. I know I'm a first for sure. I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I'm very proud of that. And the first in my family to graduate from college. Even if it's with my associates, I'm okay. I love that. Um, but if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. Help a girl out. No. Alright. So, as I said, today we're going to talk about being the first. Now, I'm pretty sure we all remember our first, whereas they're like steps, the first words, heartbreak, even our first time, our first date, our first love, even our first child. Um, and so I'm watching the Olympics, and well, not really watching the Olympics, but there's Simone Biles. We all know her. She is an amazing Olympian. She's been in the Olympics like four times already, I think. Um, but she's always known for nailing the difficult stunts. And she said a quote the other day that really stuck with me. Um, it's that I'm the first Simone Biles. She's not even trying to do the compare game. I love it. And she's the first woman to win three consecutive all-around titles. Simone Biles, everyone. She is a goat. That is so great for sure. But I was thinking, before I go further, if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. Help a girl out. Alright, but I was gonna talk about some famous first, like the first rights convention in Seneca Falls, New York, in 1848. And this was here in July 1848, when about 240 men and women gathered in upstate New York for a meeting that and said convened, and the organizers to discuss the social, civil, and religious conditions, rights of women. 100 of the delegates, were 68 women, 32 men, signed the Declaration of Sentiments and modeled on the Declaration of Independence, declaring that women, like men, were citizens with the inalienable rights to have elective franchise. The Seneca Falls Convention marked the beginning of the campaign for women's suffrage. Another first is the Wyoming Territory is the first to grant women the right to vote in 1869. In 1869, Wyoming's territorial legislature declared that every woman the age of 21 years residing in this territory um, may at every election cast her vote. Now, the Congress lobbied it and held against it, and Wyoming's women kept their rights and everything. And they even had in 1924 they even elected the first female governor, Nellie Taylor Ross. So, what's another one? Well, there's the Californian Julia Morgan is the first woman admitted to the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris in 1998, and she was 26, and she had already earned a civil engineering from Berkeley when she was just one of 100 female students in the entire university. And after she received her certification of architecture from the École des Beaux-Arts, the first architecture school in the world, Morgan returned to California. There, she became the first woman licensed to practice architecture in the state and the influential champion of the arts and crafts movement. Though she is the most famous for her building the Hearst Castle, a massive compound for the publisher of William Randolph Hearst in San Simeon, California. Morgan designed more than 700 buildings in her career, and she died in 1957. Next, we're going to talk about Margaret Stranger, and she opened the first birth control clinic in the U.S. in 1916. And in October 1916, this was a nurse and women's rights activist, and who opened the first American birth control clinic in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Since Since state cornstalk laws banned contraceptives for dissemination of information about them, Sanger's clinic was illegal. As a result, on October 26th, the city vice squatted the clinic and arresting the staff and seizing the stock of diaphragms and condoms and tried to reopen the clinic. He tried to reopen the clinic twice, but police forced her landlord to evict her for the next month, closing it for good. Now, in 1921, she formed the American Birth Control League, and the organization that eventually became the Planned Parenthood. Another one is Edith Wharton, and she won the prize in the 1920 in the novel Age of Innocence, and like many of her books, The Age of Innocence was a critique in the insanity and hypocrisy of the upper class in the turn of the century in New York. The book was inspired by several stage and screen adaptations, and eventually going on to, can we guess the book? Can we guess the series? Can we guess the series? That's right, Gossip Girl. So we have Edith Wharton. Thing for this one. Alright. Next we have Amelia Earhart. And we know she's the first woman to cross the Atlantic in 1928. Next we have Katharine Graham, who becomes the first woman to become a Fortune 500 CEO. Aretha Franklin is the first woman elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So why are these first important? It's blazing a trail. Being the first to do something can mean paving the way for others. It's an advantage too. Think about it. Being the first in the field can give someone access to resources without much competition, allowing them to set the standard, operate like a monopoly. For example, a company that's first to market can establish a brand recognition and customer loyalty before competitors and have the perfect timing or service for a product. One of my favorite entrepreneurs is Sophia Amoruso. Trust, she literally admitted that she was terrible in school, but she had business sense. And she was wanting to be her own boss. But another thing is like why it's important is being remembered. Think about it. According to marketing strategies like ARI Rise and Jack Trout, being the first into someone's mind is the best way to be remembered. People like to know what's new. It's hard to be pushed out if someone else has already created the same perception in someone else's hand. There's the unconscious preference, and people often unconsciously prefer options that are presented first, even with no rational reason to do it. For example, people might prefer the first resume in a fat pal, even if the person didn't want the job the most. Next, there's priority. Think about it. In the Bible, the word firstborn um, signifies priority and refers to rank rather than birth order, and the firstborn would inherit and have leadership. So, what's a great example of a first? And this is something I'm proud of, is first generation college students. And here's the thing. First generation college students, we do not get enough credit for what we have to learn when going through this process because we have to have the academic preparation, and the FGCS may be less prepared academically than their classmates and less likely to have taken advanced high school classes. There's the financial barriers, especially like me. I come from a low income family. I literally grew up below the poverty line. I'm still below the poverty line, but anyway, um, they come from low income families and they may need the financial aid to pay for college, and it helps out tremendously. Um, Imposter syndrome. We struggle, like, a lot of us struggle with imposter syndrome, and it's the inability to believe that we deserve the success. The next is a lack of community. And this is very hard because think about it. Sometimes you lack the social capital and the structure of a higher education and may feel like an outsider. This can lead to social isolation, decreased engagement, and negatively impact academic performance. This took a toll on me last semester. Trust me on that one. Then there's the lack of support. And you may feel abandoned and unsupported by friends and family at home, but people who don't understand the pressures of college. Um, the guilt, like You may feel guilty about leaving your family and financial responsibilities home. There's also other challenges that first generation college students face as well. And that's also difficulty adjusting to college, like low academics, self-esteem, family conflicts, shame, confusion about the available resources. I do recommend meeting with your counselors and everything because they are going to be really helpful in helping you navigate this process. What are some things to remember? It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. It will not happen overnight. You may fall. Who knows how many times? Trust me. Success is all about trial and error, and being the first makes you brave. You're clearing a path for the next generation. You're a path blazer, and I'm proud of you. I really am. You're doing something that takes a lot of bravery and everything. But here's to all my first generations out there. Here's to everyone who is the first in their field to do something. Um, but that's it for this episode. Join me in our final episode for the season as we talk about the sweet girl with a sassy personality. We all know them. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time.